Hello, Chris Duffy.
Coach Young,
Hey, Coach.
how are you doing today, sir?
I I had that little card that you sent me sitting on my island there for a long time, and I just saw it again tonight. So I thought I better get a hold of that Chris Duffy. And
I'm
I think
glad you reached out. Glad you reached out. You doing all right?
do you know Lil?
Uh, I know a little bit of him. I think him and my brother William, they went to school together a little bit. They used to hang out, I think, a little bit, maybe a little bit. I think he's a little bit older than my brother when he was there a little bit. So,
Okay.
But not just personally.
Well, tonight we're going to introduce you personally, okay?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good.
You see Leo, Leo's on now. You see him?
Okay.
Hey,
yeah.
how you guys doing?
It's great to see you two connected on there. I'm curious how far apart you may be from each other down there. I don't know the distances very well, but tell him where you live there, Leo.
Fort Worth. So it's about 35 minutes to Oak Cliff.
Yeah. And see, my family lives in Oak Cliff, but I stay, Forney, Forney.
Right.
So I'm about another 30 minutes past that away on the other side. So, but Dallas Fort Worth is pretty much all these cities put together, and you just, it's hard to kind of explain. It's almost its own state, almost in a way. When you put Grand Prairie, Fort Worth, Dallas, and all the little things around there, it's kind of, people just travel. You know what I mean? Because then you can work one area. So I work like 45 minutes away from here in Irving.
Irving, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Dallas, Fort Worth, the DFW area is almost like Texas by itself.
Right. Yeah.
So when I was in South Padre, they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, Texas." I'm like, "Hold up." No, I mean,
yeah,
I'm Fort Worth because it just kind of seems, it just is that way. We're so big over here.
Yeah. Usually, I would say like Houston is big. Houston itself is a large city.
Right.
But when you do Dallas Fort Worth, the whole is bigger than Houston. Because you just have all that. So it's kind of everyone really say DFW because it's so just connected. People can live in Fort Worth and be working in Dallas. So.
Do we have Matt Ornelas on tonight? Matt? Can you hear me, Matt?
He was on. He must have run to get a snack quick. I'm sure he'll jump back on.
Could be. Okay, and Dax is on tonight.
Dax
too.
is on, yep.
Our new Hall of Fame member is right in front of us here. He doesn't look a lot different now that he's a Hall of Fame. I mean, he really looked good the other night when he was all dressed up and everything. Did you see the pictures of the Hall of Fame, Dax, that they put on the website?
No, I haven't yet.
You might get on there and on the USF Hall of, or I don't know what you go, USF Hall of Fame, I think it is, or something like that. Sports Hall of Fame, and but there's a whole array of pictures, and there's some really good ones of you, and there's even one of you and me and Leo, I think. Did you see this, Leo, too? Your pictures? You're muted. Leo, you're still muted.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Leo?
I was going to the website and look at it right now.
Oh, okay. Alex, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Coach.
We'll be getting together here next week, maybe, huh?
Yes, sir. Next Thursday, the 6th. It's on my schedule. Flights arranged, hotels taken care of. So
are you renting a car or not?
I don't know. I'm still negotiating that with Kevin, but if I have to, I will. If not, I'll just Uber around town. I'm staying right next to the university.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my son probably, he's going to take me all over the place. My dialysis is 28 miles away from his home. And so, when I get dialysis in a foreign place down their way, you don't get the prime times, you get the times that nobody else wants. And so my time started at 2:15 in the afternoon, and I probably won't get done until almost 6 o'clock then, by the time I get out of there, and then take the drive home. So that'll take a while. So
That's on Friday though, correct?
yeah, that's on Friday. They're gonna probably see if they can move it up. I might get a real early time, like 6:45 or something like that, that's no big problem with me, because that would be like 8:45 my time. And so he's thinking about taking me over early, and then I'd really get done early on Friday. So anyway, Ed Kester, you're on with us. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, I'm on. I got some things done.
Okay. There's the Hall of Fame. There's Leo. What a good looking chap. I loved your talk, Leo.
Where's this link at, Coach?
What's that?
Where's this link to the pictures?
Where'd you go to get it?
Pam Gold sent out an email with a Flickr page. How about I send it out tomorrow? I'll just send it like I send the link to this meeting.
Yes, please. That'd be good.
So yeah, it's just a Flickr right up here where I highlighted. And they're all high-res pictures, so they're really good pictures.
Oh, that's awesome.
There he is.
Look at
Boy.
that champ.
Look at that dude, isn't he? Wow. He's really something. Holy smokes. I thought you did a good job. Your talk to it, everything. You were the Dax Michelina that I can kind of remember. So I didn't want you to change too much and write some fancy speech that wasn't your character. So
I couldn't do that for you, Coach.
I was proud of you guys. Well, congratulations, Leo, and
Thank you.
yeah, Dax. I mean, so
It was definitely a day to remember, and then to get, inducted with Dax is even better for me. So it was exciting to have that moment with him and with you guys all being there. So
Absolutely, buddy. No better way to get back in touch with each other.
hey, is
yeah,
that
What?
I'm hoping that you guys will stay in touch with each other and develop. That's what this is all about: is developing a larger, fellowship, and really growing together. So
I already told Leo he's coming up fishing.
Yep. Out to Wyoming.
That's right.
is that you,
Okay.
Matt? Are you on now? Ornelas?
Yeah, everything figured out now, so.
You had it figured out, Matt?
I thought I did.
We can hear you, Matt.
All right.
Tell us where you're at. Are you still in Rapid City? Do you live in Rapid City or Spearfish?
We're in Spearfish now.
Okay, but you do commute down to Rapid City to work in the fire department?
Not anymore. I retired in May.
Oh, you did? Wow,
I
you're getting
did.
old. So now what are you pestering Stephanie, are you, or what?
Absolutely, every time I can.
Are you involved in coaching the Spearfish football team now then, or what?
Nope. They're turning their program around on their own, so.
You're giving them some advice, though, aren't you? Giving them a little cougar advice
Every once in a while, yes.
if they ask you. Huh? You got a pretty
Yep.
full beard. You got a pretty full beard there.
Yes. Been growing it for a while, so.
Tyler Muth is on tonight too. Tyler, good to see you.
Yes, sir. Coach, how's it going?
Pretty good, thank you. How's everything going at Harrisburg and coaches down there? Are you guys developing something I need to follow up on?
We just had a huddle last night. It's been a little slow getting coaches back on. I was told and was recommended that I give out a reminder like the day before, because I always send out an email Sunday for the meeting.
Yeah.
But then I should send out a reminder like the day before, the day of, just to get that fresh in their minds. But the talk we had last night was really good, and it's nice when the coaches want it and enjoy it. So
Are you using the 360 coach?
yes, yep.
Are you? Okay, good. I'd be curious how that's, going. Are people watching some of the videos on their own, do you think, or?
That's what we're changing to, just so that they have time to think about the videos and the messages and process it rather than just watching it on the spot.
Yeah, that's a good idea if you can get them to do it.
Yeah.
Because you want discussion is really what you want your group to be. So
Right.
that's good to hear. So anyway, you're going to be the model of that 360 coach. Okay.
Yeah, I know you told me that. And that's a lot of pressure, but I can do it.
That's good. Okay. Eric Thompson, are you back in Arizona yet?
Yes, Coach. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you. Sure good to see you up here, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
I still don't have the details on the tickets for the game down there yet, so
No worries.
I'm probably going to try to do something because Kalen plays tomorrow night, and probably Saturday or Sunday he'll be a little more free to do something. So anyway, he'll have probably the agenda for that weekend maybe by then too, because he doesn't set it all up. He's got, they got more people doing things for him. They got football operations guy and all that stuff. So that
no worries. We'll make sure we connect, and if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. You'll be down for a couple weeks, so we'll definitely get together.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's an afternoon game, isn't it? Alex, do you know?
I'm not certain.
So far, it's to be determined. They have not put out a time yet. But if I guarantee you, Coach, we'll get tickets. I'll buy them if I have to. Don't worry about that.
Well, we'll get tickets from Kalen. It's just a matter of knowing how to get them from him. And that's when I thought maybe if I could get with him on Friday night, he might have them available, or probably what they'll end up is being in the the pass window at the will call there at the stadium. Probably what he'll have. He'll just turn it over to somebody else, and he'll just tell them how many tickets we need, and they'll get them for us. So anyway, it should be a fun time down there in the heat.
It does say 3 o'clock on that ASU game now. It had said to be determined, but it says 3 o'clock on the website.
Well, that's
Okay,
perfect.
now is that 3
3
o'clock their time?
I would assume so. I don't know off the top of my head here. It just says 3 o'clock.
On their website?
Well, it's on Washington Huskies website.
Okay. So how would you take that, guys? I'll find out this weekend for sure. So, but we'll definitely plan on being together there, and probably end up needing to kind of range of time there by the will call area, and boy, I used to go to a lot of games in that stadium down there when ASU was just starting to get better, but they've kind of gone downhill lately with the firing of what's his name, Herman
Edwards.
Herman Edwards. Yeah, that's too bad. I like the guy, but I like Scott Frost down in Nebraska too. But something happens to those guys when they get in those big programs. So hopefully it doesn't happen to Kalen, but I don't think it will. He's too too strong at this point. He'll make things work out there some way.
It does say on that website, all times are central, so 3 o'clock central.
Okay. So 3 o'clock Central. What time would that be in Arizona then? They're 2 hours behind us. 1 o'clock?
Yeah, that makes it 1 o'clock.
Okay. Right in the middle of the heat. I hope we're not sitting in the sun, which.
It'll be
how
a
do you
dry
get it?
heat. It'll be cool.
Yeah. Right. I don't know how hot it'll be down there, so. Let's get an Ed Kester in case you have to leave early here, Ed. Let's tell us a little bit about your ride that you did. Explain to everybody here. Let's first of all get acquainted here. Alex, how many of these guys do you know?
Well, I know a few of them that have been on here before. And this gentleman, Dax, I watched him play when I went to visit you guys a few times over the years. I watch him run around carrying the football. Not bad for a white guy. Pretty good football player.
He was.
But I obviously know Chad and some of the other guys I know from being here, the ones that I don't. My name's Alex Rojas. I live in Miami, Florida. I played for Coach Young. I'm much older. I'm closer to Coach Young's age than your guys. So.
You know, Matt, tell them a little bit about you.
Matt played 94 to 99. Then I coached for a while. Yeah, I'm from Wyoming, living in Spearfish now.
You were a firefighter for how long?
I had close to 20.
You're retired now. His wife is the AD at Spearfish.
Yep.
Spearfish High School up there. Anyway, he was part of the national championship team, linebacker for us. So,
Great.
Anyway, Leo, real quickly, talk about you a little bit so everybody gets acquainted with you. Leo.
All right, there you go. I was trying to get the mute. Well, right now I live in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm an assistant principal at a high school, which is interesting all in and of itself. So I've been in education, which is shocking because I didn't think that would ever happen. But it's been about, 14 years? It's been about 14 years, 13 or 14 years in education. I'm married to my wife. We've been married for, 14 years? Yeah, 14 years. So then I've been in education for about 13 of that. So just down here, I have a master's in theology and a master's in education. So I'm in ministry too. Ministry didn't necessarily go the way that I thought that it would go, but God always has plans for us in different ways and how we go about it. So part of the stuff I'm doing now, I'm part of, it's kind of a two dynamics. I'm part of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. I watch most of that on Zoom, but then I have a church plant that I'm part of, and we're trying to grow. You know, God's going to bring the harvest, but that's kind of where I'm at right now and what we do. We love traveling. My wife and I, we travel. We live in the Airstream. We rent out our house now, so we're kind of like nomads. So we just enjoy, pick up and go, and whatever God has in store for us, that's the route that we take.
What years did you play at USF then?
2001 to 2003. So I played there 2 years. I came from, I was at Iowa State, and something happened to where I didn't have enough credits from high school, which is 2 years later. That's a whole nother story in of itself. But I had a decision to make if I was going to go to like NAI or D2 and play 2 years, or if I was going to go to another D1 school. So I had a friend named Darren Smith. He was at University of Sioux Falls, and he called me up. He's like, hey, just come here. We'll make it happen here. So that's how I ended up at University of Sioux Falls, because I wanted 2 years to play there. So I ended up in Sioux Falls, and it was the best decision that I make. You know, you look back at it, you was like, oh man, I wish I was at D1, but again, God has his plan. So the enjoyment of being there and everything that has happened, transpire, and just getting to know Coach Young and, you know, Dax, Coach DeBoer, Coach Morrell, Coach Anderson, a lot of different people. You make those friendships and you just enjoy life. Whatever God puts in front of you, just enjoy those moments.
Thanks, Leo.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you made that decision that you made. Okay. We were blessed. Our program was blessed because of it. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you did too.
We had our ups and downs, but we definitely had way more ups than we did downs, which was an amazing thing when it comes to a football program, because you got people involved that no matter what the circumstances look like, even if they were down, yet we still held together. So that's what I enjoyed about our team and just the atmosphere there, because it's not always based off if you win or if you lose. It's based off the connections that you have. So that's what I enjoyed most about our school and our team and our connections.
Okay, get back to Alex there. Alex, you were in the right. You didn't get hit directly with that hurricane, but I imagine you felt some wind down there in Miami, right?
We've been blessed. You know, as my daughter likes to call my house, Fortress Rojas was not affected at all. We're very well prepared for the storm, so we were very lucky. But where you stayed, Coach, up there in Fort Myers, that really took a hit. I got some friends that live out there, and those people really. So, you know, keep those people in your prayers there. They got a lot of cleaning up to do, and there's a lot of devastation out there. So, but we were lucky. So thank goodness for us. But where you were staying, Coach, that got wiped out. I mean, just wiped out.
Yeah, there's quite a few places, especially that causeway over to Sanibel Island, getting washed out. And now those people over in that island, the only way they can get back and forth is with the ferry now. And wow, it's so hard to imagine all that happening with, you know.
I mean, if you live on Sanibel Island, I think you can afford a boat.
Well, that's probably so, but it's piled up with all the other. It's piled up with all those other boats. So
yeah, that's true.
but anyway, you got to keep those all those people down there. My cousin, he lives in a retirement shelter there, or home, and on what they call Shell Point, which is right as you enter that causeway, and they have their own shelter and everything, and they could put 2,900 people in that shelter, and so they didn't leave. But he hadn't gotten out of there yet to see what his apartment was looking like outside. So anyway, what I'd like to get back to Ed here. Let's talk to Ed about a little bit about your bike trip there. Will you please explain what it is again? And some of these people don't remember.
For those on the call that may not know me, I played for Coach 85 to 89. So I was right after Alex with Rem. So we were the early years. Eric Thompson was our free safety. So this bike ride that Coach Young's talking about, I work for a company called Bristol Myers Squibb, a big oncology company. And for the last 10 years or so, they've been doing a coast-to-coast bike ride. And I first kind of got hit by cancer in terms of awareness when Coach lost Diane during the pandemic, and it got me kind of thinking about this ride a little bit and watching Coach go through dialysis. And then my father-in-law got diagnosed with bladder cancer. And for 2 years, I watched him go through that, and we lost him. April 11th was his funeral. So I made a decision. I wanted to get involved with this ride. You have to apply for it. You have to have a why on doing it. And then they select 126 riders out of the company. And I was selected this year. Never done any biking before. So they shipped me a bike, and I got on the bike and started riding. Put in 1,950 miles or 1,850 miles of training over a 5-month period. So I pretty much gave my life away to riding a bike. we had the ride last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. On Thursday, we started in Topeka, Kansas. We had a 75 or 78 mile ride that day, climbed 3,500 feet. Kansas is a lot of rolling hills. Every time you get to the top of a hill, you see 3 more in the distance. So it wasn't easy. I was on a team of 6 riders that day. I was probably the strongest rider on the team. There were some other riders. It's a bunch of desk jockeys. So there's some riders that really struggled. We ended with 3 riders. The others hit the van. I did not touch the van. I did not have anybody push me. So I made the whole ride. We rode into downtown Kansas City, which was kind of cool because the last trip that I took with my father-in-law, Bob, was to Kansas City to go to the World War I Museum and Truman Presidential Library, the Negro League Museum. And we rode right through the neighborhood that we stayed at. So that was kind of cool. Day 2, we rode as a team. We started in Arrowhead Stadium. We had the Chiefs mascot and some Chiefs people there and the head of the cancer center. We took off at about 7:30 in the morning out of Arrowhead Stadium, and it started pouring down rain sideways. It was about 50 degrees and it hit a high of like 55. So it rained the entire day. We did 75 miles that day. We climbed like 3,800 feet. It was a bear, but we got through the day and then went to Columbia, Missouri, and the last day was Columbia to St. Louis. We rode into St. Louis, crossed the Missouri River, shuttled to Busch Stadium, and then we went from Busch Stadium past the Gateway Arch to the hotel. And overall, 126 riders. We've raised $975,000 for the V Foundation. That's our for cancer research. I raised right at $10,000 myself. A lot of very generous people on this call donated to my ride. Appreciate that very much. And at the end of my ride, I have a guy I've worked with for 25 years, Dennis Peacock. He and I got together at the end of every manager's meeting, or not the end, but at some point during the manager's meeting, we always got together. Just a great guy. He retired in the end of in January of this year. Retired, done, lost 23 pounds, diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And Dennis lives in St. Louis. He was at the end of my ride, so that was pretty special. So got to spend some time with him. Carol went down. It was really cool. And the top executives with our company, the guy that paid for the ride rode with me the 3rd day. And Carol and I are flying out tomorrow. We're going to New Jersey on Monday. The last riders ride into New Jersey. So they're going to ride into New Jersey. That's the conclusion of the ride. And then all the riders that are there are going to jump into the Atlantic Ocean, and then we're going to celebrate. So hopefully by then we'll have $1 million raised, and then hopefully Bristol Myers Squibb will match that. So we can put $2 million into cancer research. That's the goal anyway. That's it. It was a blast. It was an absolute blast. I never did anything like it. Carol kicking me out of bed at 6 in the morning to go hit the bike trail and the frontage roads and just, do 3.5, 4 hour rides by myself in the wind to South Dakota. It got kind of tough, but I told Carol I'm in better shape now than I'll ever be the rest of my life. So it all goes downhill from here.
Thanks, Ed. So you're leaving tomorrow morning for New Jersey, right? That's
Jumping
correct?
on an airplane. We're going to go to Baltimore and see the Inner Harbor, the National Aquarium. And then we're going to go to Washington, D.C. on Sunday and do the Washington, D.C. thing. Maybe museums. I think there's going to be a lot of rain. So then we go up to New Jersey on Monday.
Do you think you're going to connect with Jeff Jackson out there?
I've got his number. I don't know that I'm going to. I don't know I'm gonna have time because by the time I get from Baltimore to Long Branch, it's gonna be close to when I gotta start with the things coming in. He'd have to take a day off school. I don't want to
Oh.
put him into that.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you. I'm proud of you, man. We did miss you at the Hall of Fame, though. All those
Yeah,
great,
I'll have to catch up on that. I have no knowledge as to what went on.
once again, Bruce Mulder had to substitute for you.
Well, we won every time he ever did, so.
I know. He was Ed Kesser's backup quarterback, Bruce was. He's out farming tonight, so he wasn't able to be on, but he's busy with the harvest, I guess, right? Chad, is that what?
Yep, said he's gonna be on a tractor till 1 or 2 tonight. They're pushing really hard to get everything done.
I see
We've been-
Josiah joined us too there. Hi, Josiah.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Pretty good. You must be on the road traveling somewhere.
I am. I'm headed to a coworker's son's football game right now.
Okay.
So just thought I would get on real quick while I'm on the
Yeah.
road.
I'll give you some more details about tickets and everything once I get it put together early next week before we leave for Arizona. So I imagine
Yeah, just let me know.
I imagine we'll need to leave or get together probably. If the game's at 1 o'clock, I
Yeah,
think we probably better plan on getting together at noon at the latest, probably.
yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna drive up that morning, so that
Okay.
will work.
Anyway, I'll probably be there a little before noon and quarter to noon, something like that, to pick up tickets, but I'll have to find out how to get them and everything. So anyway, Eric,
good.
you're still planning too, aren't you, Eric? Are you still with us, Eric? Okay.
Yeah, Coach, sorry, there's some police activity outside the house.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, sorry. What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, you'll be with us on Saturday before the game? Get tickets?
Yeah, whatever, yes.
I'm thinking right now, we should probably shoot for about no later than noon, quarter till, or right up till noon right there. And probably just be at the will call area there.
Okay.
And I don't know where that is or anything, but we can find that. I'm sure all of us can
No.
find it.
Yeah, I'll do some research and get a map together or something.
Okay, if you'd send something like that out, that would be great. We could forward it
Sure.
to the other guys too, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, your wife's still going to the game too, isn't she?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Josiah, are you coming with the 2 other guys?
Yes, Ern and Demetrius are gonna meet me there. So I'll let them know, planning about noon that day, that will call.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Who's got some things to say? Chad, do you got anything to say tonight that's really important or?
No, I'm just gonna take care of the bats in your belfry tonight when we get done here.
Oh,
Be
you
brilliant,
guys.
be brilliant, be gone, Chad.
There you go.
Hey, Coach, can I say something real quick?
Sure can.
Just want to say thank you, everyone, for your prayers and everything for my daughter. She was born a couple months ago, and she spent about a week in the NICU. She was born about 3 weeks early, but she's doing great now, gaining weight. Had her shots yesterday, so a little fussy the last couple of days, but she's doing well. So we appreciate all your prayers.
You're very, very welcome. I believe in prayer, as I've said many times, so.
Yes, sir.
Let's, any, Alex, you got anything to add from your standpoint down there in Florida, where all that's taking place down there in Florida?
No, sir, I'm a little disconnected this evening. I'm still working. I was just writing Chad a text, an internal text, and letting them know that I was going to be cutting out a little early because I got a bunch of spreadsheets that I need to prepare for a meeting tomorrow. We're building a courthouse, and I need to prepare for a meeting tomorrow. I'll be up for a few more hours working on that. But other than that, it's always great to talk to you guys, and glad to see the Sioux Falls connection. You know, somebody was saying there about what a great experience it was to come to Sioux Falls. I believe it was Leo. Some of you guys may have heard this story or not, and some of you guys may know Kalen. Kalen and what was the kid that played quarterback with him? Curtis Riggs. Curtis Riggs was in a movie. He had auditioned for a movie down here, Any Given Sunday, with Jamie Foxx. And he came down here and he stayed at my house, and I gave him a car to drive, and he drove around. And then one night we all went out to play pool. And he invited me to come along with all of these players that had played they had all played Division I college football. And not a single one of those guys, not a single one of them guys, not one alumni had taken care of them. And here's a guy from a little bitty school called the University of Sioux Falls at this time, who came and stayed with us and got a place to stay. And my housekeeper did his laundry, and I gave him a car to drive, and that made me feel really proud to be able to have done that for him. So it's a great family that Coach Young has built for young men and adults, and what he does every 2 weeks is important to me to be participate and give him my support and always be there and encourage you young men to continue the hard path of life and do the best you can, you know, with your mind and soul, you know, and give yourself to Christ. And you know, you're not always going to be a saint, because most, you know, God hung around sinners, and I can tell you I was one of those, and I still am. So, but I try to do the best I can with what I got. So it's great to see you, Coach, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to these young men. I know Ed pretty well. You know, I'm still waiting for that crow that he shot a couple of years ago for him to hang it up, some black bird that he said he got. I haven't seen it yet. He said it's a black pheasant, but I believe it was a crow. So. I'm sorry to cut short, Coach, but I got some things I got to do. And good night, gentlemen, and good luck to you. Thank you.
Take care, Alex. Good to see you.
Good night.
I'm gonna turn it back over here to Chris Duffy and Leo. You guys can provide us a little closing inspiration for the night to leave us with what's happening in your, you know, with Tony Evans and everything down there. And
currently right now, well, I guess I think pretty much everyone knows me. If you don't know me and stuff, again, my name is Chris Duffy. I played with Coach Young 92, 93. I played with Curtis Riggs and Kalen DeBoer and Anthony McWell, Terry Austin. And so I was recruited for track and also football, but I left my last year. I had 1 year left of football. And so I was given the senior. So I came back and I finished up at UTA in Arlington because I had a daughter and so forth. So if I would have went on the stage my last year, you know, 3 years, I'll probably be on the championship because I was there with all those guys. I played with them all. But again, you know, I loved, you know, being up there, it was a life-changing event for me, coming to Sioux Falls. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I've been with AT&T 23 years, manager at AT&T and stuff. And just sometimes you need to get out of where you're from to be able to grow. At one time, I'm gonna tell you, when I first went to Sioux Falls, for me, it was a real culture shock. I mean, I know if Leo knows, I went to an all-black school in Oak Cliff, pretty much for all black people. Yeah, that's just how it was. And I remember when I went there, so many nights I was in a dorm, you know, and I would cry like, man, I have gold teeth in my, they don't understand what I'm saying. I'm up here, like, you know, but it helped me become who I am today, you know, being up there and stuff. I mean, I really went through that. So, but now, you know, like I said, I had to go through my challenges. But like, you know, just like he said, you know, we all sinners saved by grace. You know, I thank God for where I'm at now. Of course, you know, Leo said I attend Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. I've been there since January of 2004. And I'm just letting God use me however he can use me. I currently do mentor men. Also, me and my wife, we run a small group for marriage couples also through there. I'm also in the prayer ministry as well. So I'm pretty active right now, just in years of my life, you know, just I haven't been the best, but right now I'm trying to really run for God and give him all that I have. and it's the life, the feeling that you get for doing what you're supposed to do, because you was created for God anyway. So just the feeling that you get when you're doing what you're supposed to do. Currently right now we're doing a series, Pastor Evans is doing a series called Living Real in a Fake World. So as he's going through that, he's really into James right now. And if anyone knows and really read the book of James, it's more about, it's a lot about temptation. It's all about the things of you being tempted and things like that in James. And so what I recently, or just even my own, just say personal for me, and what I've been noticing is, as I mentor men, and sometimes because I have really a passion for like trying to help men and understand that their role and they're supposed to be the head. And I guess sometimes talking to men, and because I have the passion, and when I see them really not having the passion, I have to, it's been challenging for me not be so tempted to put them in a box, because I haven't always been here either. And so I have to make sure, okay, you be patient, be patient with them. And it's what this series has taught me, and this thing, and is really, it made me be more self-aware and really understand, I would say, like conflict resolution, because I'm also taking a class of conflict, spiritual, resolving conflict in a biblical way, also at the church. So as you're taking these things, and you don't realize as you grow up, things that maybe has been said to you. I used to really avoid conflict. I don't want to be in this, but it's an opportunity that God has given you so you can be able to grow. It's an assignment. So if you look at when you having conflict, you got to think about Jeremiah 29:11. The plans that I have for you is to prosper you, not to harm for you, but to grow. So you got to look anytime that you have that. Don't try to avoid it, but you take it like, God, this is an assignment for you. This is an opportunity for me to be able to grow and for me to be able to handle this conflict the way that God wants me to. So I'm just enjoying right now just the path and what God is, as he's elevating me. He's just taking me through different things, and I'm just really enjoying this ride. So that's where I'm at. And then, like I said, we're going through a series that Pastor Evans is getting deeper and deeper in. So we got some other things that's going on, but I'm loving life right now. I'm in a good spot.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. I'm going to go back to Leo again here. Your journey that has led you to the point where you are now. You thought maybe you were going to go into ministry, and God changed your path. Kind of tell us a little bit about that, and maybe respond to what Chris just said.
All right. So I thought that I want to be a pastor. Like, being a pastor of the church was one of the main things, because I think the reason why I wanted to be a pastor of the church, because that was the perspective of going to seminary. When you graduate from seminary, they kind of push you, okay, you're going to go be a pastor of the church. You're going to do this and do this. But things kind of changed in my perspective on what I thought meant to be a pastor. I just got a different perspective about getting paid for ministry, but that's a whole nother situation right there. But with me, I was like, I don't necessarily have to be a pastor in order to do God's work. I can do God's work in so many different fashions, whether it's being a missionary, whether it's going out in the streets talking with people, or just living my life in general. And when God puts something on my heart, I pretty much try to follow that and engage with people. So it kind of goes back to, what Duffy's saying. We've listened to Dr. Tony Evans, and there are like two key main points that I got from him. The first one would be, don't just be a hearer of the word, but be a doer of the word. And what I take from that is that there's many times that a lot of people just talk about what they're doing. They talk about who they are, but yet they're not about it, and you don't see it in their actions. So if I say I love someone, where is that in my actions instead of just talking? And so that kind of goes back to USF, where, Coach Young, the people there, we didn't just talk about, or you didn't just talk about, oh, I love people, but you actually showed that you love them and you showed that you cared about them. So that's kind of what it reminds me of, that aspect. The other part that Dr. Tony Evans was saying, being in this world, we got to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and then slow to anger. So just adjusting to this world, because in this world, we live in a world full of ravenous wolves in sheep clothing. And what I mean by that is that not everyone is out for our best interests. Not everyone that we're going to be around, they're not necessarily good people. So we need to be wise in how we make choices, and then still show the love of God to those people who may try to harm us, or may to love them, because that's where our reward is, loving our enemies. So just kind of when listening to that and living in this world and what we're going through, we just got to stay strong, continue the journey that God has put us on, and just not just hearers, but also be doers of the world. So that's kind of how my journey started. I don't have to be a pastor in order to do God's work.
Thank you, Lil. And Chris, appreciate your comments quite a bit there. I love listening to Tony Evans. At least maybe three times a week or so, I look and see what he's going to talk about. And I've got several people that I listen to in the morning when I get up and I'm making breakfast, and I like to plug them in and listen to something. But, that's inspirational for me. So, Matt, I want to ask you, Steph, she's not retiring too, is she?
No, I'm keeping her working. So somebody's got to pay the bills.
You're smart. I told Diane that, and she quit before I did. So that wasn't supposed to happen. So I had to I liked what I was doing. So anyway, you tell her hi from old Coach Young, will you please?
Absolutely, will do, sir.
I imagine you'll see her sometime in the next couple of days, won't you?
It's homecoming, so I don't know. It might be next week before I see her.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any lasting comments?
I have a question, Coach.
Okay, Matt Dax.
Whatever happened to the golf tournament out here?
Well, it kind of fell apart with the new with Homer Scott. I don't know if he sold the golf course but I think what the main thing was, it went under new management, and they wanted to raise the price up out of our comfort zone, let's put it that way. And then so it was just something which people wouldn't pay that much to play golf out there, and they just wouldn't, because they were always so good, and that was a lot of it because of Homer Scott, and he was so gracious to it. But once he turned it over to that new management group, I think they were out of Texas or some wealthy place. You know how those Texas people are, they want to make things bigger. But anyway, I just those were some special, memorable times, that's for sure. So do you ever see Homer Scott out there by a chance?
I haven't seen Homer in a while, but I know he's still around.
I know Greg Carroll, I think he works at the golf course out there, and so.
Yeah, he works for my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is a superintendent.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
One
Go
more
ahead.
question, Coach.
Okay.
You need to ask John Anderson why there is not one single Wyoming guy on the roster.
I don't know.
There used to be like 30.
I know. I knew what side my bread was buttered on out there. When we won the national championship, I think we had 12 starters from Wyoming, I believe, something like that. But a lot of our defensive players were from out there. I know that. So, but I had to sneak them over the border to keep them away from Black Hills and Chadron to get them a little bit further away from Wyoming. And so I got you guys. Whatever. Why did you end up choosing Sioux Falls?
Because you guys just won national championship. And that there's a senior quarterback, so there is going to be an opening soon.
Yeah. Yeah, you came at a good time. I'll say that. You didn't come early enough, so it was hard for you to get to play quarterback when you first came, because of he was on the American Legion team or baseball. He was, and you went into the regionals or something, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, he wasn't able to get to fall camp until a week or so later. And so we kind of put him at defensive back. And then our quarterback that we had got hurt. And I tell you, talk about a change of offensive philosophy in a hurry. We went from a pass and, you know, to a big quarterback that basically could stand in the pocket and throw the ball and so forth to we run the G option. Remember the G option? That's where the quarterback carries the ball 90% of the time. And then we had him, expected him to throw the ball after that. And poor guy, he'd run 30 yards and then we expect him to come back here and throw an accurate pass. So anyway, but we worked his butt off pretty good. So anyway. Well, guys, Mark Walatarski, got any parting thoughts for the night?
Yeah, I have one little bit of the entertainment end of it for Ed. Ed, I highly recommend Fort McHenry in the Baltimore area. Pretty impressive. I don't know if you're going there. That's my big contribution.
Mark's, we're in Washington, are you, Mark?
I'm in Everett, north of. Let's see, it's about a half an hour down to UW campus, depending on whether you get stuck in traffic or if you're on mass transportation.
The big question, can the Huskies beat the Bruins tomorrow night?
Is this their first road game? I tried to make a road game out of the Michigan State game for coach a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought that one of those games was on the road, but this is the first time they'll be gone. So
yeah, that'll be a new test for them. But I don't know, from what I've seen them do, just by controlling the games they have against. Well, first it was Michigan State and then Stanford. They pretty well had them. Rolling in all directions. Michigan State has a lot of weapons. I don't know if they'll get back in their hunt, but I think they struggled the next week too for some reason. Probably from the fact that they didn't quite have as much performance at others they thought.
It was really something to see them sack that Stanford quarterback 8 times. I tell you, that's a lot of sacks. You know, that's almost as many as you had to have there, Ed, right? No comment?
Yeah, Coach, I did have a question for Rem. How's your mom doing?
Oh, she's doing pretty good. We have been referred to Sioux Falls. So I got 3 doctors we're trying to get appointments with and then get the MRI handled up here. So Ed was kind enough to put my mom's name on the back of his jersey while he was riding because my mom was diagnosed with colorectal cancer on Tuesday. And I went down to a doctor's appointment on Friday while all the guys were at my house. And it turned out to be good news, if there is good news, that it had not spread anywhere and it is isolated into one spot and had not gone through the wall of the intestine or the rectum. So we're definitely on a little bit of a journey here, but that was really good news for us. So
good.
Thanks for putting her name on your jersey. I sent her the picture. She thought that was a pretty cool deal. She knows Ed because we would be playing in Black Hills and on a bus all night, and Ed would convince me to go paddle fishing. So we'd get off the bus, jump in my Pinto and drive to Yankton and paddle fish until we had to come back for the Sunday meeting with Coach Young. So her and my dad always are very aware and happy that Ed was part of our lives. And so that really meant a lot to her. Thanks.
Yeah, I actually met with Mike Pope when I was down in Kansas City, and he said that his parents both were dealing with cancer, and I was able to add their names to my jersey as well. So just take a picture. It's no work for me, but it's kind of cool. They thought it was kind of cool too. So I don't know. Did you see did you get a photo, Coach?
What's that?
Did you get a photo of my jersey when I wore you on a day?
No, I didn't. Can you send it?
I was sending so many different things. Yeah, I'll send it to you, Coach.
Good, thank you.
Coach Bob and
Appreciate it.
Diane.
Yep. Yeah, we both
Sid was
dealing.
on there as well.
That's great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I do have something to say, definitely to Dax. I don't care what it costs. I would come back out to Wyoming and play that course and meet with a bunch of guys. So if we can get some people together, I'm all in. Let's go.
Oh yeah, let's do it. It's even more beautiful now than it was back then.
Absolutely. Some of the best memories of my summers was starting out on a drive to Wyoming to play the powder horn. But more importantly, we met at Tony Nichols' house on the Friday night before, and he grilled a bunch of hamburgers and hot dogs, and Ed's yardage increased every year. He threw further and ran further every year, and Tony got more sacks, and that's what was fun about it. Just getting together with everybody. We had a pretty good solid group, and that was aces. What a great trip.
Okay, Dax, you're gonna have to get that all arranged out there, okay?
I'll talk to my brother-in-law and see who I gotta talk to.
Okay.
I'll get Greg Carroll on it too. He retired this year, so we'll give him something to do.
I was just watching him coach about an hour ago.
Is he in the high school out there?
7th grade.
7th grade, okay. I
My
thought
nephew
so.
and my buddy's kid playing. Unfortunately, my buddy's the starting quarterback, his kid is, and he dislocated his elbow. But
Okay, well, it's about 9 o'clock and we'll kind of bring it to a close. Any parting thoughts or comments at all? Or I do, Leo, you and Chris, do you have each other's contacts down there? And what do you need to get a hold of each other?
I got your brother's information.
Okay. Then you will get my information in. We can be
he
just
already
like that.
he contacted me on Facebook, and then I think he was a freshman when I was a senior.
Okay.
And so he had to we had a little freshman initiation where they had to get up and talk. Well, he's like, I'm not getting up. And then I'll tell you the whole story of what happened thereafter later on.
Okay. So if you have his information, I'll make sure to get it to you though. But I look forward to seeing you, especially if you come through besides just being on Zoom. Do you go to first or second service if you come in?
If I come in, I'll be at the first service because I have the church plant that I attend. We have it at 12 o'clock there in Mansfield.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you get a chance, look for him. I attend first service. I'm one of the guys that's down in front of the right in front of the front that's praying for people. So if you happen to see me, so just kind of look up, we'll definitely catch up. I'll get your information though.
Perfect.
Okay.
Leo, would you close us with a word of prayer here at the end? Would you do that for me?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the time we get to spend together. And, we have people who came way before us in college football at the University of Falls and come after, but yet we can all meet together and just in your name, just praise who you are and just enjoy one another, Lord. We thank you so much for the life you have given us, the life that you're going to lead us into, and just from these different walks of life, yet we can still connect because we know who you are and how you bring us together, Lord. Well, I just thank you so much for Coach Young, for everyone else on this phone call, and the people who aren't even on this phone call. I'm sure we will connect there. Lord, I ask you just guide us, and no matter what we're going through, we know that you'll give us strength and you'll be there with us. People are going through situations with the hurricane and whatnot, with a lot of different things going on, Lord. We just ask you just to guide them and, encourage them even in this moment. So, Lord, we just ask you to just help us to continue to enjoy this moment that we get to spend with one another. We know life is short and precious, and yet, we have you to do all things. So in Jesus' name, we just praise you again and all that you do. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, guys. Great night. So blessings to all of you. Tyler, keep me in the loop, will you, Tyler?
Yes, sir. Will
Okay.
do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good to see all you guys. So see some of you down in Florida, in Arizona next week, by next Saturday, okay?
Looking forward to it, Coach.
Sounds good.
All right,
This side, I
guys.
think got off, so, okay. All right. I'll
Sounds
let
good,
you go.
everyone.
Good night.
Congratulations, Leo. You had a great speech.
Hey,
Night.
thank
Amen.
Congrats, Dax, Leo,
You too, Dax.
Joe Effers.
Appreciate it.
We'll get that
Go for it.
Wyoming deal going.
I'll see what I can get going.
All right.
All right, bye.
Take care, ET. Love you, bud.
Okay, good night, guys.